Hello everyone, welcome back to Outer Kingdom Productions. I am your host, Mr. D, and yes, we are back, finally! It has been several months since my last review of Storm Warning, and there has been several other videos I have uploaded. One being about cookies, and the other about soda. So yeah. As I said before, this channel isn't just about Doctor Who, it's a combination of anything that I find interesting. But today we are back to review The Sword of Orion, Part 1. So before I dive in, there were several factors that kept me from doing this episode. First, I found the first video way too long. I enjoyed doing it and loved recreating the voices. The illustrations are okay in my opinion. Yes, they are mine. I took a great deal of time to create them, but with me and my art, it's a love-hate relationship. I look at them now and I just don't see any happiness in them. I, I put them away and I don't want to look at them again. So I wanted to shorten the next review, and instead of focusing on the whole drama, I'm sticking to the first disc. This may change over time, but if I don't split it here, then this channel won't take off. Secondly, I work a full-time job, and there has been a great deal of change within the company I work for, making it harder for me to concentrate on new illustrations. But these drawings I have now have been finished since March, so just laziness on my part. I am shooting for something around 20 minutes, and in this video I'm scrapping the voices. If you preferred hearing my recreation of the character's dialogue, then please comment down below. Again, all of these illustrations are of my own design, and out of respect to Big Finish, I won't be playing any of the audio. So without further waste of time, here is The Sword of Orion, written by Nicholas Briggs. As always, like and subscribe. We begin with Charlie petting Ramsey as the doctor returns him to the vortex. She does notice that he isn't feeling good and sort of collapses just as they arrive. The doctor comes in to examine the creature and agrees with Charlie that he wouldn't be fit to return to his natural environment, so he tells her that he knows of a place that might have a remedy for him. Now it is important to realize that the time from Storm Warning to the Sword of Orion might be between a week to 2 weeks, so Ramsey being away from the vortex shouldn't have affected him as much, considering he is feeding off from the temporal energy of the TARDIS. Here the bird is very calm around Charlie, unlike before where he seemed a little timid being in her presence. The short time we have with Ramsey is interesting to me because it seems like these three were supposed to be a tag team duo for many episodes, but Ramsey's time within the TARDIS ends on episode 4. Let's not forget that this drama came out in 2001, 4 years before the return on BBC. We are introduced to two pilots of the Silver Jackal who stumble across a massive star cruiser, and Thenis, the captain, decides that they should board the ship and see if there's anything worth salvaging. It will be pointed out later that on the star cruiser itself, is too big to scrap, but Thenis convinces his crewman Digley to help him out. Once on board, Digley starts getting jumpy. He keeps hearing something banging around, and is fearful that something is following them. Thenis shrugs it off and orders this crewman to start working, telling him that all old cruisers moan and groan. Digley refuses, just as Thenis hears the sound getting louder and closer. From the darkness, the two are faced with a crazed Cyberman who comes at them with murderous rage. They take out their weapons and start firing, but the bullets aren't affecting the metal giant, and as they take flight, Digley loses Thenis and tries his best to take down the Cyberman, but sadly fails. Now the Doctor and Charlie arrive on a floating bazaar known as Garazone Central, and when I first listened to this drama, I thought immediately that they were on the same market ship that was above Akhaten. I know I probably butchered that. In the episode The Rings of Akhaten. They both have a similar vibe, and the Doctor mentions to Clara that he has been there several times, including with Susan. Of course, that is Matt Smith. So wouldn't it make sense that this place was Garazone Central, that Paul McGann, as the Doctor now, is taking Charlie? Maybe have just changed names over time. Who knows? But the universe is massive, and the writers of the show versus the dramas are almost in separate worlds, kind of like a tangent. I know we're getting off topic, but understand that the world of the audios are really ever mentioned in the show. The Divergent Universe, Anti-Time, Rassilon, not the newer one, are not ever talked about, and that is mind-blowing. We get a saving grace during the episode Night of the Doctor, when Paul McGann speaks the names of his former companions. Well, up to a certain point, Bliss, Liv, and Helen are not written yet. But we get more into why the Divergent Universe isn't memorable once we reach Neverland. Getting back to number 8, poor Charlie is trying her best to find a tome or a potion that will help heal Ramsay, but the merchant she is speaking to isn't communicating very well. Not that she can't understand him. The TARDIS, once you enter the TARDIS, it kind of gets into your brain and your voice box that you are able to communicate and translate any type of alien species. However, this one is being more of a perv than just a regular merchant. He or she is trying to sell her items to kind of enhance her beauty, the sparkle in her eye, and give her very much pleasure, in which Charlie really doesn't want any part of. It kind of tells the merchant that she must, go off and look for her friend, at which the merchant kind of, it makes it implied that he kind of gropes her either on the butt or on the chest. We don't really know, but Charlie does sock him and kind of knock him out a little bit while she runs off and looks for the Doctor. When the two reunite, they enter a shop where the shopkeeper is suspicious of their appearance. The Doctor, in his infinite wisdom, convinces the shopkeeper, Ike, that he and Charlie are agents of custom and excise, and he allows them to look around while he tends to the back area. Charlie comes across a gold-plated Cyberman head, and the Doctor tells her that he has come across them before. If you are new to Doctor Who, it is said that gold is the main weakness to Cybermen. It makes sense that this Cyberhead is coated in gold so it can't reprogram itself, because most Cybermen, or the heads, bodies, can actually come back to life if there's a certain transmission that can either reboot their system or just kind of activate them if they are in sleep mode. Outside, Ike is on call with Grash aboard the Vanguard. Ike tells them that they may be in trouble with customs and that they may get caught, but Grash brushes it off and orders Ike to return to their ship. Their old captain has been reassigned, and a new, more stricter one has been assigned to the Vanguard. The Doctor doesn't go into a lot of detail about his encounter with the Cybermen. Of course, though, you can't squeeze all that into one audio drama. He simply informs Charlie that they are all tucked up in their tombs on Tellus. Not to ruin much of Charlie's adventure with the Doctor, but she will encounter the Cybermen again, and this one will actually be the saddest part of her saga. If you don't count later on when she meets a different Doctor. After a while, the Doctor notices that Ike has abandoned the shop, and Charlie fears that he's gone to grab some of his smuggler friends to come and beat them up. The Doctor tells her she has an overly active imagination, just being too dramatic, but thinks it would be best if they return to the TARDIS. Before leaving, he grabs a book on ancient remedies from the shelf and a graph pad, and the two head back into the bazaar. Aboard the Vanguard, Vol is trying to get their cargo loaded in a slow fashion, but his new captain orders him to hasten it. Now, the graph pad in my head is a hexagonal slab of metal that hovers and glides with smooth speed. Both the Doctor and Charlie can fit on one, maybe holding on to each other in the process, and Charlie remarks it beats riding the R-101. Suddenly, due to poor design, the energy gluing them to the slab depletes and they tumble out of the air and onto the ground where they watch in horror as the TARDIS is loaded onto the Vanguard. Charlie points out that the TARDIS has been stowed in 38B, and the Doctor hurries over to the ship telling her to remember that cargo hold number. Vol finishes loading the cargo and fears that they will blast off before Ike makes it back. Captain Diva Jensen orders him to lock the cargo doors and start the blast drives. Vol remarks that they are still waiting for Ike, but their new captain refuses to wait. Luckily, Ike bursts in, takes his seat in the cockpit, and apologizes to Captain Jensen, who tells him he will be on her next report. The Doctor and Charlie, out of breath, lean against the wall of a spare cargo hold just as the ship takes flight and speeds out of Garazone Central and into hyperdrive. Charlie remarks how lucky they were to make it, and the Doctor replies that having a good sonic screwdriver will help with any sticky situation. They start hunting for cargo hold 38B, and the Doctor is a little confused at how fast they are traveling. This ship they are on looks old, and using hyperdrive at its full capacity could shake them apart. On deck, the proximity alarm blares. Vol orders to have the warp engines cut off. Then suddenly they cease. The hyperdrive ceases, causing the ship to shudder. And the Doctor says to no one but himself to be easy with her. She's been in service for a long time. Charlie points out 38B, and they enter. Captain Jensen marches on deck, asking Vol why they have cut the power. Vol points to the screen. A massive starship is in their path. Jensen scoffs and hisses that be careful in the future. The reverse thrusters are not slowing them down in time. Captain Jensen orders them to restart hyperdrive, but it needs time to recover power drain. The Doctor and Charlie enter the TARDIS, and the Doctor heads over to the console to pull up the main scanner. When it's up, the Doctor marvels at the scale of the giant ship they are speeding towards. Charlie gets an uneasy feeling about the ship and remarks how cold it looks. The Doctor, being the Doctor, replies that everything is cold in space. As they are losing distance between the Vanguard and the dead ship, the Doctor decides it would be best if they go immediately. When the hyperdrive systems are fully recovered, Captain Jensen orders them to set them in reverse at small interval bursts. As the TARDIS dematerializes, they feel and hear a strange clunk, and Charlie asks what it is. The Doctor checks the readings and informs her that because the Vanguard has restarted their hyperdrive, the TARDIS got caught in its warp field, causing the TARDIS to fill with temporal feedback radiation. Charlie stresses about Ramsey's safety, but since he lives in the vortex, this would be therapeutic for him. The Doctor grabs a temporal dispersion device, and both hurry out of the TARDIS just as the console area fills with radiation. Once outside and the TARDIS doors are locked, Charlie remarks that they are no longer on the Vanguard, and the Doctor replies that in their haste to vanish, their destination was cut short to the closest vessel, the dead starship. Aboard the Vanguard, Grash, along with Vol, Ike, Chev, and Kelsey, are in an argument with their new captain over the sudden find of the dead starship. Grash is defensive, saying that it's too big to scrap. However, Captain Jensen tells him that there will be double bonuses for each crew member if they assist with the salvage of the vessel. The temptation is too good, and the crew agree. After some time, the Doctor tells Charlie that the temporal radiation should have dispersed by now, but before they re-enter, they hear a faraway thumping sound coming from deep inside the ship. The Doctor wants to go exploring against Charlie's wishes, and they head off deep into the ship, just as Grash, Kelsey, and Chev spacewalk inside. The crew members split off, Kelsey heading in the direction of the TARDIS. When the Doctor and Charlie reach the control deck, Charlie is amazed at how big the pilot seats are. The Doctor is also a little amazed, but rather than being impressed, gets an uneasy feeling, kind of late I might add, and tells Charlie that they should get back to the TARDIS. As they start to leave the control deck, the Doctor forgets how to get back to the TARDIS. Kelsey and Chev are arguing over the radio comms when Kelsey turns down a corridor and comes face to face with the TARDIS. Almost comical, he remarks to Chev that he found a blue box. Suddenly, he hears the sound of heavy footsteps and a bellowing scream of "Destroy!" Kelsey screams in pain as the thing grabs him and pulverizes him. Chev's yells fill the comms and corridors. The Doctor and Charlie hear Kelsey's screams and hurry back to the TARDIS. Captain Jensen tries to radio contact with Kelsey and the others, but no one is responding. When the Doctor and Charlie reach the TARDIS, they find the remains of a human being, and from what I get in my head, poor Kelsey is unrecognizable. This is a very violent, dark scene for Doctor Who, and something they certainly wouldn't have shown on their television series. Let's not forget Adric's death, and even that was pushing it. The Doctor examines the body and finds the ID on the suit. He tries rousing Kelsey, but without a medical facility, there's really nothing he can do. Chev emerges from the darkness and is horrified at the state of Kelsey's body. She is stunned naturally at finding the Doctor and Charlie here on the ship, but is more concerned about her crewmate. The Doctor, ignoring Chev's answers of who they are, insists that they get her friend back to the Vanguard or to a hospital, but Chev replies that they do have a medical lab but no doctor on board. Grash appears next, and he immediately points his blaster at the Doctor. Captain Jensen orders Grash to answer his radio comm, and he replies to her by saying that Kelsey is dead and that he has captured the murderers. The Doctor protests, but when he examines Kelsey's body again, he finds that the poor man has passed away. Grash plans to execute the Doctor and Charlie until Jensen intervenes, ordering Grash to escort the newcomers back to the Vanguard. Charlie is relieved, saying thank God there's a woman in charge. Grash growls his distaste for the decision, but agrees to lead the Doctor, Charlie, back to the ship. Chev and Ike collect Kelsey's body and place him in the medical bay. Jensen meets with the others by the entrance and is a little shocked. She asks the Doctor if they are murderers, but the Doctor replies that he doesn't believe that she actually believes that they even hurt her crewmate. But, of course, though, she has no reason to trust them either way. When asked why they were on the starship to begin with, Charlie replies that they were simply just getting some exercise. Vol radios Jensen to inform her that he has picked up some strange transmission, but isn't sure where is it coming from. Jensen orders Grash to search the Doctor and finds the sonic screwdriver and the device that detects temporal energy. After scanning the items, Jensen is sure that they aren't transmitting anything. Suddenly the Doctor points towards the corridor and says that he saw something scurrying away. Grash aims his gun at the Doctor, but Jensen allows him to examine the floor with Charlie. He shows her that there are thin scratch marks leading away from them down the corridor. Grash has had enough of this and says that these two could be android spies. Jensen shoots this theory down by replying that there aren't any androids outside of Orion. The lights start to flicker, and Jensen gets on the radio demanding to have an answer. Vol checks his screens and finds several power failures, including the emergency batteries. The Doctor asks to see the nearest power system maintenance hatch, and Jensen leads him to one. It doesn't take long to find the source of the power failure. The hatch has been melted, and something has used a high-powered energy beam to burn through the emergency systems, causing them to lose power across the Vanguard. The Doctor knows that the life support cables have been left alone, making him think that whatever did this did it with the intention of keeping them all alive, but stranding them in space. Captain Jensen radios Vol to see if he has a way of tracking the intruder, but he tells her that he doesn't have a way of doing that. Chev and Ike rejoin them, and Chev immediately starts berating about why that the murderers are still in their presence, in which Charlie calmly tells her that if they hadn't wasted time pointing fingers, then their friend would still be alive, maybe. Chev goes at her until the men stop her, and Jensen tells her not to get herself into stupid situations. While the arguing flares, the Doctor notices that both Grash, Ike, and Chev are still wearing their spacesuits and backpacks. He asks them to turn around so he can examine each of them. Grash refuses until Jensen orders him to do it. The Doctor notices the same tiny scratch marks on Grash's backpack as what he viewed on the floor, and forms a theory on what happened. His thought is that on the other ship, something either climbed up or dropped from the ceiling, attaching itself to Grash's backpack. Then once they reached the Vanguard, it dropped off while they were talking. The thing must have skittered towards the power source maintenance hatch and burned through, making sure to avoid severing the life support systems. Now it's transmitting something to somewhere. The Doctor forms a plan to have them divert power from the areas unused by the crew to help save and maintain energy in the areas that are useful. Jensen agrees, but only allowing the Doctor to leave her sight. Charlie is ordered to remain with her and Grash. Charlie asks if she's a prisoner, and the captain replies that she can call herself a prisoner if she wants to. The Doctor heads off with Vol and Chev to help shut down the life support systems in the marked areas. Chev asks him what he was doing on the other ship, and he replied that they were discovering, not murdering. He follows up that once he has saved them, and they are all on their way away from the ship, the dead ship, he would return to the dead Star Destroyer to collect his transport. Once they are set, Vol checks the source of the transmission and finds that it is coming from the stern of the Vanguard. When their security systems are functioning again, Vol discovers that the transmission's destination is to the stern of the dead starship. When they report their findings to the captain, she tells them that she will need some volunteers. The Doctor, being voluntold, waits by Jensen as she looks for other crewmen to join her. Chev refuses to go back, and Grash, at his breaking point, informs their new captain that harboring suspected murderers and endangering the crew is a sign that she is weak and must be disposed of. He points his gun at his captain and orders Vol to lock Jensen, the Doctor, and Charlie in the brig. Chev agrees, and Ike whispers to Grash that this isn't a good idea. When they try to take flight, all of their engines are dead, and the Vanguard is now stuck in space. Grash calls back the three from the brig and tells Jensen that she can have her little space adventure with the Doctor, but once they have power, and if they aren't on board, they would leave them to die on that other ship. Charlie is ordered to remain on the Vanguard. The Doctor and Jensen explore the dead starship. He asks her about her backstory, and why and how she ended up on a scrap ship. The former captain simply tells him that the ship they are on is huge and would bring in a lot of money. But she just leaves it at that. A thump echoes around them. The Doctor whispers to Jensen to keep her gun ready, at which she naturally just replies, of course. On the Vanguard, Grash and Ike are in a meeting, trying to figure out who the intruders really are. If they were agents, why hadn't they interfered with them? Vol can't fix the engines without going down into the engine room, but they have a feeling that the thing causing all the power failures is down there. Chev says she isn't going down. Grash cuts them all off by suggesting that they force Charlie to go down and find out how hostile it is. After a while of finding nothing, the Doctor and Jensen turn down a new corridor and come face to face with a rogue Cyberman. The giant lunges at them until Jensen shoots it in the chest, sending it crashing to the ground. The Doctor thanks her, but is extremely aware that her weapon is made to kill Cybermen. Jensen leans over the body and the Doctor examines it. As he removes the Cyberman's faceplate, it jerks violently until going still. So now the Doctor's fears are established. The thing over on the Vanguard that is sending the transmission is a Cybermat. They are alone on a Cyberman hibernation vessel with a Cybermet on the other ship sending a signal to wake up. With a mechanical hum, the seal in the Cyber Leader's pod opens and the other Cybermen say that their leader must be revived immediately. So we have concluded part 1 of the Sword of Orion. I really do love this drama, and out of the first 3 audios before you enter Pre-Zagreus, this one is one of my favorites. And just kind of, address why this is. I love Storm Warning, and the one we will review later, the Stones of Venice, they have their qualities too. But the Sword of Orion is very special to me because my ex, on our first date, the first time we met, I listened to the Sword of Orion going to our first date, and as we said goodbye, I listened to that going home in darkness, and it was just so majestic. Not to mention it was just a wonderful first date, and I will never forget it. But that's why the Sword of Orion really has a special place in my heart, and I guess that's why I really wanted to split this one up to do it justice. So, yes, again, this one has been a long time coming. Again, I do apologize for my laziness. My ADHD gets the best of me. I will be restarting the illustrations very soon for part 2, and hopefully it won't take another 6 months or longer to finish it. Bear with me, guys. As I've said, I have so many other projects and things going on, and finding time and inspiration is tough these days. So I say stay safe, everyone. This is Mr. D of Outer Kingdom Productions. This has been another episode of Who's Corner. And as I leave you, I'm... Since we have a lot of time left, guys, here are some of the transcripts that I have recorded for you guys. So enjoy, and again, please like and subscribe. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys again for part 2, and I will see you then. Thank you. What the hell is that? I told you it was something. It's coming straight at us. Shoot it! It's no good. What? Fire again. Together. It's not even scratched. Digley, run for it. Destroy. Back to the airlock. Ah! Dennis. Oh my god, no. Keep back. Keep away from me. Ah! No, you're not listening, are you? Vortisaurs. Have you got anything for Vortisaurs?
Anything. Give you anything. Anything give you new life. Much beauty. Pleasure.
No, thank you kindly, sir. Or madam. You see, his skin's gone all dry, and there's swelling here around his eyes and mouth.
Your eyes, beautiful eyes. All the stars.
Yes. I don't think you really know what I'm talking about, do you? Oh, excuse me. Doctor!
Taste essence of life for you.
I'm sorry. I've just seen a friend of mine. I really have to... Doctor!
The stars, your eyes like stars. The pleasure.
Oh! How dare you! Get your hands or whatever they are. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but you left me no choice but to... Doctor! Well, I think that's quite enough excitement for one day. Now, if I'm right, the TARDIS should be around... Oh no. Oh dear. That machine seems to be loading it aboard that ship. We've got to get to it! Too late. Hatch 38B. Remember that code! There must be someone around who will open it again. Come on! Stand by to release. Vanguard casting off. Oh dear. We've got about 10 minutes to get aboard. Wait! What? But how? Shouldn't we wait for Ike? I picked him up on the security camera. He got on board just in time. Are you doubting my piloting skills, Navigator? No, but, I mean, your course is in the nav computer vault. Lay it in. Aye, Captain. Casting off. Docking painters. Disengaged. Maneuvering thrusters. Firing. Take a seat, pilot. I'm sorry. I'm on my report. You will be. What do you think it is, Kelsey? Do you think it's been making that noise? Eh? From this box? No, I don't think so, no. Kelsey, I've got your position. Chuv and I will come and have a look at. And, just keep your gun handy. You never know. Well, thanks for filling me with confidence, guys. We won't be long. Yeah, well, just hurry. Mind you, at least that noise... What the... Destroy! Ah! Kelsey! Oh, right. Don't move! Please, there's no... Shut it! Oh, what the hell have you done? Move back from the body! I thought you said we weren't to move, Doctor. Shut it! Both of you! Doctor, he thinks we did it. What? I think there's been a misunderstanding. I won't tell you again, murderers! Recon to Vanguard. Go ahead. We found Kelsey's body. And the murderers. What? We didn't. He's not dead, what? But he soon will be if you don't do something. Grash, what's going on? Take your hands off him! I'm just checking. Oh. Pulse gone? Yes. Grash, pass in your suit cameras. If you're sure you want to see this. We're patched in. Oh my god. What is it, Ike? Oh, nothing. I mean, poor Mark. What a mess. What's that? What? Stay where you are, Doctor! You saw something? Yes. Something moving on the deck. Over there. It, Doctor. It's gone now. What? What did it look like? There's nothing there. He's just trying to confuse you. Transmission source is moving rapidly. Where to? It stopped. Fascinating. What's the matter with you now? Look, down here on the deck. Just watch it. It's all right, Grash. Let him go on. What is it that's so fascinating, Doctor? Can't you see? Yes, leading from inside the airlock, over the edge to the door seal, and off to where you saw something. Scratch marks. Yes, very slight and very small, made by something compact and quite heavy. But I didn't see anything. Neither did I. It was very quick and very quiet. I just happened to see it. In that case, it's sure to be trouble. Well, you at least accept the Doctor and I aren't murderers. The only thing I'm prepared to accept is Merchant Space Corps standing orders, which state that space junk like you two get locked up, and captains who unnecessarily endanger their crew get relieved of their command as of now. Put the gun down, Grash. Shut up! I'm working by the book here. I think he's right, Captain. Ike, Bull, to your stations. Get your rears into gear. Engage main drive. Get it out of here. Look, Grash, I know how you feel about Mark, but could me orders. Ike, tell your mate to shut up and do as he's told. Bull, just, all right. You've officially taken command, Grash. Yeah. I'll put it in the log. I take it you're backing me. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Sure.
Power is now no response beyond phase 1. Increase the power. Our leader must be revived.